Hello friends, it's time to talk about the meta. No, not this guy. With new agents, maps, and patches, there are things always changing in Valorant, and getting ahead of the curve on what strategies are best can make the game a whole lot easier to play. So here's 3 agents that seem criminally underrated both in ranked and even in the pro scene. This video is sponsored by Valorant Tracker. With Astra and Viper getting heavily nerfed, the speed of the game has gotten a lot faster. Factor in the introduction of sprinting mechanics plus Brim's team-wide speed boost, and suddenly, high-tempo strategies are super strong. Again, remember when we thought TSM's triple duelist W key comps were the best in the world? Agent number 1. Sage. Once upon a time, at the very beginning of Valorant, Sage was pretty much the best agent in the game. Her healing was very overpowered, her wall was almost unbreakable, and her slows were basically the size of Canada. Sage was the ultimate answer to any fast strategy, and it was only after several nerfs, ridiculous buffs to Viper, and the addition of Astra that she really fell off. It wasn't even that Sage was bad either. Viper and Astra were just that overpowered. Before we get too deep into Sage, I want you all to go grab Valorant Tracker from the download link below so you can follow along. You can track your individual stats on different agents, weapons, and maps, so check out what your win rate is currently on Sage. You can also keep track of other useful stats like headshot percentage and what guns you're the best with. Now back to Sage. With Viper and Astra better tuned, Sage has made a huge comeback to combat the bursty style of play that has also become more popular. Her ability to stall choke points even against stimmed opponents is insanely valuable and massively underrated. Just look at the shift in pick rate in the EMEA pro scene. And yes, sorry NA fans, Europe is usually way ahead of everyone else when it comes to meta development. Sage has become a super important pick on maps like Bind, Fracture, and Split, where fast-paced attacks are extra dangerous to deal with. She also provides great value for getting the plant down behind her wall, and all 3 of these maps have very easily farmable ultimate orbs. Let's not forget that Resurrect is probably one of the craziest abilities in the game still. I know Sage has remained pretty popular in lower ranked games, but I'm not sure if people realize just how good she is in the current meta. I also don't think many of you realize that you're not subscribed to this channel, because I'm getting several 100,000 of you regularly watching my videos, but only have 75,000 subs. Bruh. Agent number 2. Raze. The more I watch people like Durka from Fnatic and Victor from Optic play this agent, the crazier it seems that people are still force-picking Jett on every map, or God forbid Reina. Raze started to see some more play when Fracture was released, thanks to the value you can get from her explosive utility on the close quarters of the map and the multitude of choke points. This seems to have reminded a lot of teams that Raze is actually quite good, and now that you can have Chamber as your primary op character, it frees up your main entry duelist to blast her way onto sites. Raze's ability to clear angles is far superior to Jett on attack, and on defense, the value is just absurd in comparison. A single well-placed paint shell grenade or ultimate showstopper can completely shut down a push or deny a fast plant, whereas Jett relies entirely on hitting shots to stall attackers. To be fair, Jett certainly still finds value on wide open maps like Breeze, but more and more of the top teams seem to be trying to fit Raze into their lineup whenever possible. Again, let's look at the difference in pick rates in EMEA. Agent number 3, KO. Yes, I know I've talked about KO before. A lot of you watched this video, in fact, but until I see this guy being picked in literally every single game, I'm not gonna stop talking about him. KO is unbelievably good in so many situations and compositions, and because he has the ability to play both aggressive and supportive, he gives teams so much more flexibility to work with. A well-timed KO knife can stop a push just as well as a slow or a smoke, or even better is when the other team decides to push in anyway without their utility. I'm looking at you, impatient ranked players. KO's fragment does a very good job clearing angles, and he simply has the best pop flashes in the game for taking duels or cracking open a site. With Chamber rising in the meta and agents like Sova and Jett continuing to stay relevant, suppression is one of the most impactful effects an agent can have. He's good on basically every map, and if you don't start picking this agent, I'm going to tell everyone you know that you think the Island Boys are the most talented musicians of our generation. Perhaps you can see a trend here. All 3 agents are good or underrated on Fracture. All 3 agents have very low risk ways to stall attackers and secure map control. All 3 agents provide huge AoE abilities that can be comboed with each other and other agents to dominate a site. Also, if you'd like a full agent tier list and meta discussion, I will be putting out a members only video covering this every single month. So be sure to join us.